Hi folks, this is your old pal Uncle Al. Just finished a little gardening outside. Got my garden shirt, got my hat. Finished gardening. Like I said, it's boring stuff. I'm not in contests and stuff. I'm just growing food. Now, a lot of you gardeners out there better understand this very clearly. You're producing 500 pounds of food for each person in your family. And you have to store it, preserve it. Keep telling to this, and a lot of you are holding contests and stuff. We produce this much and that much. But how much is that is going to go into food production to store it? This is one of the problems that a lot of third world nation has in food production. It's called the Zimbabwe effect. Zimbabwe Production Effect. Okay? Or ZTAD. That's a whole nother category I don't want to get into. Right now we're going to talk about your food pantry. What kind of food pantry do you have? Basically, a food pantry is a walk-in closet or a wardrobe, which is a large cupboard or shelf up standing alone. Now, I tell a lot of people confuse what is Uncle Alan talking about. And we're going to go over it very carefully. So if this is a very long video, if you don't understand food storage or you don't care about your family, you can watch the bikini garden video. Lord, that drives me nuts. First thing, we have to get this book. All right? See that? That's the lady's name. You get that on Amazon. Now, going back, where did I put it? Okay. And first thing, shout out to our favorite gals, the Vineyard Chicks. Yeah. Uncle Alan has a lot of books. Vineyard Chicks. Okay, I think that's Bunko, Treo, and KO. I hope I got it right, and I hope it's not Vineyard Chickens. So anyway, I got you covered, kids. Uncle Alan might be losing his mind and might be getting old, and you know. Now, we already talked about bulk foods, and I will go over it again because a lot of people get confused. It's not goat food, animal food. It is food for you and the proper storage of it. Okay? We're talking about dried, pre-packed, and freeze-dried. That should be 250 pounds for one person of 1 year. This is all balanced out properly. Balance. A lot of people, if you go watch Huble's Cat's video on his 5-year experiment, shove food in box. Don't worry about it. I'm busy. I got to dance. Okay? No, you can't do that in food storage. You have to understand. Notebook, spreadsheets, you put a little painter's tape over it and you write the date. Okay? And how many do you have? If you buy 5 or 6 of them and you never use it, the expiration date will creep up on you. And then you have to I have 20 cases of clean peaches I got to eat. Or it's going to go into the garbage disposal. You have to understand your food rotation system very carefully. Bulk you could get away, but when we go into dried, canned or jarred, frozen, we're in trouble, and especially the bottom, fresh, because a lot of people don't understand how to store food. Okay? Now, a basic food pantry has 5 levels. You have the ground level, which is floor. That's where you keep all your what? Clue, all your food buckets, 5 gallons. Now, with some bulk storage, all right, you can store anywhere from 45 to 35 pounds, depending on the size of the grain or material. That's anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds. And we already went over, Carol, if you can't see this, you gotta get better glasses, because Uncle Alan's handwriting isn't that good. Okay, that should be on the floor. Your 5-gallon buckets or water. Okay? Now, a lot of people like, water? What do you mean water? I'm not talking about a glass of water. I'm talking this kind of water in a plastic jug. Make sure it's off the ground. Uncle Alan has wood floor in my food pantry. So it's off the ground, not on concrete. That's a bad no-no. First shelf should be jarred food. Jarred and canned food. Less, if we have an earthquake, less room to fall, less splattered. Okay, so it'll be jarred and canned food. Second level, canned food that doesn't weigh that much. So this would be the smaller cans. Number 10 cans on this first one. Number 3 level, right here, your dried and freeze-dried foods. You have to package it right so it doesn't get eaten. And then finally you have your lightest stuff goes on top and top and top. So you're having your dry food like salt, beans, pepper, all the dry elements. Okay? Lentils, beans, whatever. Pre-packed, macaroni. This is a working food pantry. So you have to figure out which dry item has to go there, which pre-packed item, like macaroni, or biscuits, or crackers, or one-shot meals that you add water and other stuff. And then your freeze-dried stuff. Usually I put the freeze-dried stuff on the very top because that's the lightest of the bunch. So the top 5th level is at the ceiling level. So you have your freeze-dried food up here. You have your next level of food, dried foods, and so forth and so forth. And on the bottom or first shelf, you could do either fresh vegetables have a time limit on food. Okay? So you have to be careful. Like I store a bin of onions, carrots in a sandbox. And I have to be careful about the stupid cat. But I keep a plastic box, a wooden box, damp sand, and carrots. I keep that on my bottom shelf. Why? Because carrots last longer. I spritz it once a day. I cover it with a damp burlap sack and goes into a heavy-duty plastic tote without the lid. And then my sister brings her stupid cat, which drives Uncle Alan nuts. Okay, canned foods. What you do with canned foods, you check the date, you write the date, you write the amount in your book and spreadsheets. You write when they expired, what type of food it is. Got to know what you're doing. And if it gets close to the expiration date, you donate it to your food bank. Lord, it's like, I have to repeat this over and over again. For the last 40 years, people don't get it. You play too much video games and you're right out your head. Play Uno. Jarred food. If you watch Huble's Cat's video on his jarred food attempt, 5-year-old jarred food is not that good. From 1 to 2 years, 3 is pushing it. Okay, and then it goes down the garbage disposal. Diane, the canning nana, also had the same problem. Like, okay, we're not going to eat that in that jar. And again, down the garbage disposal. Or on the compost pile, like Martha, old school prepper. Okay, so when you do jar, you label it, you date it, you figure out how many jars you have on the spreadsheet and what kind of meals you're going to have from it. Same thing with frozen. Make sure you rotate the stock top to bottom. When you put in new stuff, it goes on the bottom of the freezer. New stuff always on the top. Label and date it with painter's masking tape. Especially Uncle Alan doesn't like to eat 20-year-old venison. Found out my nephew, we found it in the back, way in the back, Uncle Alan. Uncle Alan's old, not stupid. Okay, but I made something good out of it. Took me a while. Fresh, know what you're doing. You only have less than a 30-day time limit on this. If you don't know how to store fresh, do not screw around with it. That's 195 pounds. That's my level expertise. A lot of you jokers will have moldy green things rolling around in your food pantry. Okay. Now I have to go back with the 3-day food supply because a lot of people don't understand food pantry. You have to have a breakfast, a hot drink, a cold drink, and a snack. Lunch, you want a lunch meal, hot drink, snack, and could be some kind of bar, middle day, doesn't matter. Snack could be fresh fruit. Dinner, you have your dinner and your 3-side dinner. Usually dinner was the main dish and that was it, and you're lucky if it had a roll or bread or a biscuit. Now we advance from those times and we have dinner with 2 sides. You have a vegetable component, you have your main dish component, and you have a starch component. You have a hot drink, you have another side dish, and then you have later on in the evening a snack to finish it off. Preferably fresh fruit. Because I might have to go over the pantry again. Pantry could be anything, like a closet. I have in all my nephews and nieces' houses, and my house too, we have a walk-in pantry. Because I made sure and I put my foot down. If it doesn't have a walk-in pantry, Uncle Alan is going to kick you in the nads. Did that last year because what's in your pantry? I don't know, Uncle Alan. We've been stuffing things in it. We had a garage sale and my nephews and nieces stopped talking in a really high voice. Okay? That's wasting money and space. So you fill up your food pantry, like we said, buckets on the ground level, then your cans, jars, and lighter stuff, and you work your way up. I will do a complete diagram because a lot of you guys don't understand what Uncle Alan's talking about. So anyway, we're going to have this for Sunday. I might have another video out later, again, on food storage because a lot of you are making big mistakes. Okay, people who live in an apartment, I tell you, you should have a cupboard or a cupboard or a wardrobe type of closet. In case you don't have that much closet room, you have that, and that's a lot easier. And those who live in smaller apartments, think of other methods, and we're going to cover that in another video. So I'll catch you guys later, and I hope you have a nice Sunday. Night, folks.